Are we live? I've never done this before, so this might sound absolutely terrible. It says we've got 4 viewers. Hell yeah. Gonna be honest, guys, was completely expecting 0. So the fact there's 4, thank you for tuning in. So first off, just want to say quick hello. My name is Sam. It's the channel. Basically on this channel, I make short films. I use Unreal Engine and motion capture technology, and I make short films about your favorite franchises, and also a sprinkle of original stories here and there. And then I also make behind the scenes videos where I show like how I made these things. And right now I am working on Real Steel 2. No, unfortunately it is not the continuation of the first feature film. It is a fan short film, but the first one that I made about a year ago, it was about a month into knowing Unreal Engine. I did it in about a week. It's not very good. If you go on my channel, you can see it. I mean, people enjoyed it. It got over 80,000 views, but I didn't really enjoy it. Like, I look at it as like, there's a lot of flaws. So I'm trying to correct those in this new version. It's going to be a lot longer. The fight's going to be longer. There's more characters, more robots from the film that I think you guys will enjoy. But yeah, if you're new here, consider subscribing, maybe going around looking at some of the short films I've made, some of the behind the scenes videos I've made. But today, what we're going to do is we're going to model the boxing ring for the actual arena. And the arena is going to be, I believe it's Crash Palace. Yeah, that's what it's called. And then next week, next live stream, we are going to be texturing the boxing ring. And now, some of you guys might know, boxing rings, well, they tend to have a lot of ads on them. And so what I was thinking is next Saturday, when we are texturing the boxing ring, it'd be pretty fun to make some joke-like brands, some logos that kind of play on current brands, but a bit of a twist on them. And I thought it'd be cool if you guys actually came up with them. You know, if you guys feel free to leave your ideas in the chat, or you can leave your ideas in the comments of the video. If you're watching this after it's gone up as a video and we're no longer live, leave them in the comments. I think it could be kind of fun if you guys come up with some ideas for some joke-like logos for us to have on the boxing ring. And then when you watch the short film, when it comes out, you can recognize the logo that you came up with the idea for. You don't have to worry about the design. Literally just come up with the concept. I'll worry about the design. I'll worry about the texturing. I just thought it'd be kind of funny because I know in Real Steel they had Xbox 720, didn't they? That was before Xbox One came out, and there was Xbox 360, and for some reason we all thought it was going to be 720, and they just went another way, and that was kind of downhill from there, wasn't it, for Xbox? Obviously, before we start modeling, first thing we've got to do is we've got to gather reference. Reference is really important. You need it when it comes to 3D modeling, because when you try and model something completely based off of your mind's eye, you can get a lot wrong. You can not really recollect all the details, right? What you see in your mind's eye of what an object looks like is going to be very different to what it actually looks like in real life. So it's key that we use reference. Now, lucky for me, there's a pretty big fan base when it comes to Real Steel. We've got a whole bloody website. So basically, I've got the perfect reference for the boxing ring. So if we look here, we don't have to worry about any of this, but this is mainly what we want to look at, right? So this right here, this is perfect. It gives me an understanding of scale with the bots, gives me an understanding of the scale of the humans. So this is going to be the boxing ring that we are going to be modeling, okay? This is what we're using as our reference, and then we've obviously got quite a few images here that gives us a good idea of the arena. So what I've got here is I've got my blender scene going on here, and we got this little guy. The reason why we've got a little human here, he's a bit creepy by the way, he's a bit like Slender Man, is we want to make sure that everything that we are modeling is to scale correctly, right? We don't want to just eyeball it. If we eyeball it, not everything is going to be consistent when it comes to scale. Things might start getting a bit messy. So what we're going to do is we're going to start out by making the base of this thing. So you see here, it's pretty simple looking really. It looks like it's a bit of just metal sheet rebarb. So what we are going to do, I'm going to get a plane. I'm going to scale this bad boy out. Yeah, I'd say that's about it. And the great thing is, like, maybe a bit too big. If there's certain elements of this where we're like, the scale's wrong or different things are wrong, it's fine. We can fix it later. We just want to get it as close as possible. That's the idea here. So we've got a basic thing here. Now, if we look at this, you'll see there seems to be things underneath it. We don't have to worry about those because you're not going to see them. But what you probably are going to see is that this thing is as thin as ever. Look, if I go on this, problem with the plane is, look, paper thin. We don't want that. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit tab. We're going to go into edit mode. We're going to select our face and we are going to hit E to extrude, and we're going to bring it up just a little bit. See that? Very subtly. The more complicated stuff is going to be when it comes to this kind of detail here. So what we're going to do first, well, we're going to do the corners. We're going to do these bad boys right here. So it looks like got a bit of a base, then it comes up, then it scales in and becomes a bit of a point at the top. So that's quite simple. So Shift A, mesh, cube, sweet. We're gonna to about here. Now we don't have to worry about matching the scale just yet. I actually want to have this thing quite big while I'm modeling it, so I can get the best idea of what it's going to look like. And then once I've got it modeled, I can scale it down and make it fit appropriately. So this is what we're going to do. So we're going to go into edit mode. Bring that about there. There we go. We're going to extrude, and then we're going to scale, and we're going to scale on everything except the Z axis. And we're going to create kind of something along the lines like that, and then bring something up like that. Okay, now this will be a good point where we figure out scale, because we don't want it to be too high, right? So again, this is where the reference is really important. So we're seeing, okay, so it's quite small in comparison, so it's about there, something like that. Yep, I'm happy with that. So then what we're going to do is going to hit tab again, and if you want to focus on something in Blender, you just hit the period key or the full stop key, depending on whether you're in the US or England. Okay, and then from here, what we're going to do is we're going to extrude again, scale on the Z axis, make it even smaller, and extrude it up again, and done. Thanks so much. No, I'm kidding. We got to do a lot with this, right? So as you can see, the edges are very sharp, and what you might have noticed here is I beveled this. There we go. We've got a design of our thing. Let's see what it looks like with the bevel modifier. It's kind of nice, like that. And again, we don't have to worry really about this being super detailed in terms of the amount of polygons. And what I mean by polygons are these. These are polygons. These are faces, right? And the more of those you have, the more detail you typically have, but it's also a lot harder on your computer. So we have to keep that in mind, okay? But the textures are going to be where the detail comes out in this thing. And another thing that is quite key with these is, again, like I said about the lighting, you're not going to be staring at this stuff for all that long. You're going to be looking at the robots trying to beat the hell out of each other. That's what everyone's going to be tuning in to watch, right? So now at this point, I could, if I wanted, duplicate it and bring it all around. I'm not going to do that. And the reason why I'm not going to do that is because if you see here, we've got these things that come out that kind of connect the chains, right? And then we've also got this rebar or whatever. I don't even know what the name would be. But we want to make sure that we create all of this first. And then once all of this is modeled and we're happy with it, then we can duplicate it and put it everywhere around. And then we can look into creating the chains, which will be quite straightforward. But yeah, so what we're going to do next is we're going to make these bad boys, these little connector things. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to bring in a cylinder. Now, when you bring a cylinder into Blender, you'll see these options pop up. Don't move the cylinder, because if you move it, these options disappear, and there's probably a way to bring them back, but I don't know. So this is what we're working with. So we're gonna double the vertices. There we go. Again, like I said, we are creating these here. From what I can see, let's look at the reference and more. Oh, that's better. Okay, so it appears to be just a tube, just a metal tube that then connects to a thicker piece of metal, where then the chains move along. It's pretty straightforward in terms of geometry. Ah, there we go. That's what it looks like there. Makes sense. We can do that. So we're going to rotate on the X axis, and then we're going to scale down on the everything except the Y axis, so that we get something kind of like this. And they're quite short. That is way too thick, and it's a bit on the long side as well. Oh, let's just do it this way. This is going to be easier. And there's a bit of a gap at the bottom. You'll notice there's. So now I could do this, right? I could go duplicate, Shift D, and then move it down on the Z, then Shift D, move it down on the Z, and try and one by one try and match the distance and get it right. That's tedious. That's long. We're lazy here, so we're not going to do that. What we're going to do is we're going to add an array modifier. The array modifier, basically what it tells Blender is, I want you to duplicate this model that I've put the array modifier on. I want you to duplicate it and then move it along however amount. So, and I want this many duplicates, right? So it's got 2, so it's duplicated once. We don't want it on the X factor though, because we can't sing. Oh no, that was a bad joke. I'm sorry. That was a really bad joke. We don't want it on the Z, because that's backwards. We want it on the Y, but it's going up. We don't want that. So let's go -1. And how many was it? 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, that doesn't look right. So at this point, what we do is we just adjust it like that. And that looks pretty damn close to what we were trying to do. And it's literally just a modifier. I haven't had to go in and adjust each one bit by bit, because that's tedious, right? That's annoying. But look at that. That's what we want. I do think there's still a bit on the long side. We'll make them a bit shorter. That's better. I like that. And how does it look? So as you can see here, there's a bit of like there's a bit of a bulge that comes out where it ports into this main stand, and then also the same is going on here for this part. So that's what we're going to do. So, and again, this is a great thing about the array, is now that I have this array, whatever I do to this model, it's gonna do the exact same thing to the rest of these, which is perfect. It's what I want. All right. So what we're gonna do, actually, let's hit shade smooth. There we go. That looks nice. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna hit tab, and we're gonna go into this mode and control. So we hit this one here, and this is the knife tool. We hover over our model, we hit Control R, we've got our thing. But we don't want just one, right? We want 2. So we're gonna scroll up once. Boom. There we go. And then we click to lock it in. Don't move your mouse, because if you move your mouse, they're gonna move. They haven't been locked in. All you've told is these are how many I want. So you have to click it again, and now they're there. But they're a bit too close. We want them further apart. So what we're going to do, we're going to scale on the Y axis. Now, obviously, there we go. Cool. And that's now applied to every single one of the arrays, which is super useful. It means we don't have to go in and do it over and over and over and over again, because that is very tedious. Like I said, we are lazy here on this channel. If we can avoid doing things, we're going to do it. So here we go. So we've got these bits. That's not what we want. So we're going to hit scale. But that's not what we want. See how it's doing this kind of weird thing where it's moving? We don't want that. So we're going to shift Y. There we go. That's what we want. Oh yeah. Look at that. Now, obviously, there's no... So, actually, yeah, let me explain this. So, I've applied shade smooth. If I shade flat, you'll see it a lot easier. But I've hit shade smooth to get rid of those hard edges, because nothing has a hard edge. But when you hit shade smooth and all you have is one... I don't know the word. I just know how to do it. I don't know the names. Ugh, it's like vertices. No, what is it? Edge. There you go. Edge. Sorry about that. When you've only got one edge, it just assumes, oh, you don't want this to be visible. You want it to be super, super smooth. So you apply it, and it becomes super, super smooth. But we don't want that. We want to be able to see it. So here is where we do the same thing again. Knife tool, Control R, scroll up once, click. Don't move. Click again. I moved. Damn it. It's all right. Scale on the Y. So S and then Y. And you want it a little close, but not too close. And that's so it creates this kind of subtle thing. Now, this one just allows me to do this. Put one there. Put one there. Hang on. What's going on here? Put one there. Put one there. See? Look at that. And it's this very satisfying looking, smooth look to it. And that's what you want, right? And then we're going to do it here. And, I mean, you're not going to see in here, so realistically we can... This is definitely not efficient, because you're not even going to see this, but I'm doing it anyway. Screw it. Okay. So, there you go. It's looking very nice, looking very snazzy. Now, before we move on, I have forgotten, we've got these little nuts and bolts, right? We want these in the bottom of our thing. So, here's what we're going to do. I think we're going to do that. Yep. Cool. So, here... And here's a way that as well that you can make a model when you bring in a mesh, a base mesh. Here's a way that you can make it snap to place. So you hold down Shift and you right click. This thing is now wherever this is. When you bring in a base mesh, that's where it's going to appear. So now I can go Shift A, mesh. I want to make a nut and bolt. No. This is too many. So let's bring it down to 12. Still. Bit high. How about 9? I don't know. How about 8? That looks better. Right? That's what we want. Just going to scale it on the Z. Scale it right down. Now, I do not need to apply a bevel to this, because look how damn small it is. You are not going to see this. You might notice it on a wide shot when you maybe watch the short film a second time, but other than that, you're not going to notice it. So... And you might say, well, if you're not going to notice it, why are you doing it in the first place, Sam? Well, the reason why I'm doing it in the first place is because I care about detail. I'm a 3D modeler, and when it comes to 3D modeling, I care about detail. I want this to feel as real as possible. And when things are just magically glued together, and there's no proof of welding, and there's no proof of using nails or bolts, it can start to feel a bit not real. So I don't, I don't like that. So let's do another array. Cool. So about the same. Can't tell. Hang on. Let's go on the top view. Yeah, that looks fine. And then we don't need to duplicate. We can do this. Mirror. So we've got mirror. This is what we want. And we want it on the Y axis, right? And then here's mirror object, and this controls what it's mirroring, what's the base, and booyah, look at that. From one model, and it's just one, right? And I can edit this to look like whatever I want, and it's going to apply the exact same thing to all 4 of them. Which is sweet. I don't have to worry about it. So let's actually bring this up a little bit. There we go. It just looks a little nicer, you know? Looks a bit more like, okay, that's actually bolted in, right? And pays off. Pays off well. So now that we've got these, and that's looking nice, this is all coming together nicely as well. we're going to create this bit. And it's very simple. I mean, we saw on here, didn't we? It looks like, just looks like a plain piece of metal, like a sheet of metal that's been cut really thin. Yeah, yeah, it is. Yeah, it's just like a basic piece of sheet metal. Oh, this is going to be the hardest bit, guys. So, like I said, hold down shift, right click. Let me come in here. We're going to bring a cube. All right. And we're going to scale it on the Y. So S, Y. Pretty good. I mean, it's a bit wide. It's a bit on the wide side. Very nice. Apply a bevel. So I'm pretty happy with this at this point. Pretty happy with this. And I'm going to get that slap bang in the middle. I'm going to change it to this. Should rotate on the C. Look at that. Looking pretty sweet. Starting to come together. Let's double check this isn't... Yeah, cool. Sweet. So this has come together quite nicely, right? So I think what we're going to move on to now is we are going to move on to this contraption. So this is what we want. So let's scale this bad boy up. Sweet. There we go. This is way nicer. So you can see there, we can get a good idea of what we're looking at here for the design. Seems pretty simple enough. Seems to be like it's attached to something on the back. So we'll try and make something where it looks realistic to the way it's attached. I am also going to add these bits underneath, these rebar bits, just poking out. We're not going to see the main bits underneath, but if I want to do some wide shots, because I do have some intentions for some pretty cool slow motion wide shots of while they're fighting, we need that kind of detail. Because you're going to notice, if that's not there, you're going to notice it's not there, and you're going to be like, oh, it doesn't look very detailed. Or at least I do. I don't know. So, what we're going to do is, I mean, it's just a bunch of planes. Sorry, a bunch of cubes, really. So, we're going to bring that there. Scale it down on the Z. Scale it on the X. We need this way smaller. This is way too large. Let's select that. Okay, this is where I'm going to have to bring it down. Bring that there. And then this. You'll see as well, it kind of is like in an eye shape. And this is not in an eye shape. So, what we're going to do, did this earlier. Get the knife tool, Control R, scroll up once. Click, don't move. Click again. Then we're going to scale on the Y. Get something like that. Very nice. Extrude. Scale. Cool. Cool. There we go. That's looking like a bit more. That's actually going to do a job at holding things up. Do you know what? Take my own advice. Stick to an array. Apply an array here. There we go. Sweet. Now, it's too far apart. So, bring that in. And then make this more even. Looking a little better. I still think it's too tall. These definitely need to be wider. What the living hell? There we go. That's better. Because I mean, it's these supports are holding up a ring that's got some pretty big robots in them. So we want it to feel like they can do their job, you know. And right now, it does not feel like they can do their job. Cool. And then just some X's, it looks like. Bring in another cube. Gonna scale this bad boy down. Scale this along. Scale on the Z. Yep. And when it comes to scaling things in Blender, so if I hit scale, and let's say I want to scale on the Z axis, but I want to specifically scale on the Z axis of a specific thing and not the world origin. Well, I hit Z once, and it's going to scale it on the Z axis of the world, which is going to cause a bit of a weird deforming. If it's I mean, this is a very simple shape, so it's not really deforming. But on more complex objects, it will deform weirdly. So you hit it again, hit Z again, and now it's specifically doing it on the axis of the object, which is a key thing to learn and has been very useful for me. Oh, no, that's not what we want. There we go. That's more like it. Okay, how's it? It's in the inside of it. Okay. Cool. So let's focus in on it. Let's get it just behind it like that. And then, like I said, scale. Don't want to scale it on that axis. I want to scale it on its own axis. Axis? Axis? How do you even pronounce that? I don't even know. I'm dyslexic, so who cares? Cool. So that's what we want. But we need it to have an X. So it's 3, and it's at a much sharper angle than this. There we go. Scale it again on the X. Problem is, you're seeing it's kind of starting to protrude through, which we don't want. So we might put it more of an angle. Sweet. That works. Let's see. Let's put an array on that, and let's just see this one alone if it works. There we go. Cool. And we want 3. How does that look? Nope. It needs to... Do they need to be further apart? Oh, yeah, they need to be way further apart. Okay. Okay. That's better. There we go. That looks better. Okay. And then basically, just shift duplicate and rotate. And this is what we're going to do. Hell yeah. That's better. Got there eventually, guys. Sorry about that. I'm a bit inept sometimes. So, a bit inept. But anyway, that looks better. That looks nice. And don't worry about this. Well, do you know what? What we'll do is... There we go. Actually, to be fair, they'll just be behind each other because they're not... They are separate, aren't they? They're separate bits of metal. There we go. That looks better. Let's have a look. What else have we got to do? These bad boys. And then some little joint bits. Cool. So let's add this in. Now, some of you are maybe quite good at VFX and you're like, Sam, you are doing this so wrong. Why are you doing it like that? You should be doing it this way or that way. Well, the reality is, guys, beauty of 3D. You can really do things however you want, and you can still get to the same result, you know? I'm ruining this, though. Bloody hell. I don't even know what's happening. Oh, that's funny. It's only funny to me, though. Okay, an array. Looking sweet. I want them a bit... I feel like they should be thicker, though, shouldn't they? This as well. Just scale this down. Yeah, really, you can have your own way of doing everything when it comes to 3D. It's kind of the beauty of it. There's not really one way, which helps me a lot when I was in school and I had to do things like maths. I could never wrap my head around it because there was only one way to solve it. And if you followed it, you got it right. And then I would inevitably make some sort of mistake somewhere down the line. I would never know where, and I wouldn't end up at the answer, and it would confuse me. But with 3D, you can get things wrong. You can do things a way that no one has ever thought of doing it, and you can still arrive at something that is just as high quality as anything else, which I enjoy. I like that. I like that about 3D. I like that about visual effects. It really allows you to just explore different experiments. Okay, so there's another one that connects into it. Got it. I'm gonna do this. Which one's wider? There we go. That looks better. There we go. Getting there, getting there, getting there. There's... You see, just I mean, like at the beginning it looks quite basic, right? And then what we're going to do is we're just going to slowly add more and more details, sprinkling on more and more details. And then eventually it's going to look really cool. And then from there, when we start texturing next weekend, that's really when the detail is going to come out and say hello. So these seem to be the exact same as these bits. And they're just coming off of it, I guess. I mean, that's another thing in 3D. You don't have to worry about everything technically working. If it looks like it works, that's all you need. I think that's really all you need. As long as it looks like, yeah, that looks like an object. That looks like something. You can work with that. That is not what I wanted to do. Just adding some more details. The reality is, visual effects is kind of like doing a magic trick. As long as no one else sees the invisible string, it works. You just have to focus on getting it right for them. You can see all the flaws. You can see all of the stitch-ups. But if from an outside view it works, that's all you need. That is all you need. Okay, so we've done all that. That looks a lot more supported. What are we gonna do? We're gonna add these bits now. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna duplicate this. We're gonna turn off the modifier, rotate, and scale down. It's kind of rotated in. Kind of weird design. What is it? It's like angled up, isn't it? So it's like, okay. So it's like angled up and inwards, kind of like this. All right. Because like, look, that technically, mechanically, does not work, right? But it doesn't have to work. Do you know what? I think I have to notice it's not perfectly aligned. So we're going to do this. There we go. Because this needs to be a little bit more of an angle. That's nice. That's good. That's what we want. It is what we want. And then we're going to duplicate, move it here. And here as well is a great thing is it doesn't have to look in terms of the angles. It doesn't have to be perfectly symmetrical. And actually, by having things not be perfect in terms of placement, in terms of symmetry, it can actually look more real, right? Because humans are not perfect. We make mistakes. So on construction site, things can, not be done perfectly. It can be a little bit of a mistake. You can get away with it. People see it and they don't go, well, that looks strange. They're like, yeah, fair enough. They don't blink twice, which is what you want. So that is looking pretty sweet. I think it needs... it needs to be not as wide. And then we also want these to be a bit wider. Okay, there we go. That's what we want. Is this the right way of doing it? I don't know. But you know what? It does the job. And you're not going to notice, are you? So that's looking pretty cool. I mean, at this point, all that you really need in terms of detail is all these nuts and bolts. Really, that's all we need to worry about now. It's quite a few, but that's all right. This is going to be quite quick. It's going to be a lot of copy and pasting. Okay, I want these to be smaller. They're too big. I don't like how large they are. I like that. Okay, so let's duplicate, turn off the array. And where is this? There we go. Sweet. And then we're going to do this. Oh, keep getting it wrong. There we go. That's what we want. Sweet. And it's just these things that just, when you look at it initially, you're like, what does that mean? But it all adds up to be some pretty awesome detail that, like I keep saying, once you have the textures, that's where everything really shines. You see, everything is grouped. So we know this is all one corner. So once we have everything applied and we finish modeling, we can just duplicate it around and we have each corner. It's going to look sick. Let's duplicate it first. Then let's hide these away. And we're going to use this to add all of these details. So, and I mean, at this point, this kind of stuff, we don't need to worry about getting it perfectly like the one in the reference, because the reality is no one's here to watch a ring, right? When you guys watch Real Steel 2, when it comes out, no one is going to be going, oh, look at the bolts and the screws. It's so cool. It'd be actually kind of funny if someone commented that on the video when it comes out. But the reality is you're going to be looking at the robots. But for me, I need to make sure that this stuff is here and is keeping this thing planted in reality, really. Move this along. And this is something that I'm still learning. Like, I get a bit hyper-fixated on the tiniest little details. And it's like, well, the reality is you're not going to see it. You're not going to see it. You're not going to notice it. So I'm still getting used to that. Understanding that, look, not everyone sees the details that you see. And that's okay, but you just need to understand that and accept it that not everyone is hyper fixated on the tiniest little details like you are. Yes, sorry about the delay with Real Steel, guys. I've been pretty busy recently. I've had to work on a lot of freelance because I don't make money from this channel. I'd love to make money from this channel, but the reality is you need a stupid amount of subscribers to actually make a profitable wage from this kind of thing. So right now I just do it out of pure love, and I love seeing that you guys are enjoying the short films that I'm making. But I do have to focus on, you know, freelance every now and then. And I'm not sure if any of you guys know, but there's a new render challenge. There's a new render challenge that is being set up by Clint, otherwise known as Punisher, which is Punisher with a W. It's called Kinetic Rush. If you are interested in visual effects, or just like somewhat having, you know, maybe you've dipped your toe into it a little bit, I really recommend you checking his stuff out. I'll leave a link in the description. And he's got a render challenge. Thousands of people enter into this render challenge, right? It all comes down to a top 100. And I've been busy trying to get into the top 100 for that. But it is pretty hard. I've never been in the top 100, but I'm hoping to this time around. But if I don't, is what it is. You know what I mean? So we'll figure it out. But yeah, if you guys have any ideas... Oh, it's working. It's working. Are you going to include game robots in the film? So basically we've got 4 robots right now. Yeah, we've got 4 robots that are going to be in the film, and I'm kind of just going with like the classics right now, because I'm not very good at modeling characters. I'm better at modeling environments. And so what the aim is right now, just focusing on the robots that people recognize, that people are going to see from the movies. But I'm using these models that I found online that the first Real Steel, they were the mobile game. You can go back and watch the first Real Steel short film I made, and they're pretty low poly. They're not very detailed at all, and it's because they're the mobile game. The ones I'm using for this one though are much more detailed. And I think there was a console version of a Real Steel game. I mean, someone in chat can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure there was a mobile game, and then there was I want to say Xbox. I can't remember, but there was some sort of console game or PC game that, I mean, it was still relatively low poly, but I mean, you know, it was a Real Steel boxing game, and some of those models are out. Some of those models are out there for free. And I will be leaving, when I release the film, I will be leaving the links to the models that I used. I'll be leaving them in the description so you guys can go and show some love to the people that have taken the time to post these models online. Because, you know, I don't want to just rip off some people's work. I want to give credit where credit's due, right? So I'll leave those links in the description when the video comes out. But what I've done is I bring them into Blender, rig them, and then... Okay. Okay, cool. So there was a console version and a PS3 version. So there was an Xbox and PS3 version, but it was removed. Huh. Yeah, I never heard about the console version. I only ever played the version of it that was on phone. I used to play it on my dad's phone when I was younger. I was kind of obsessed with it because I just loved the film, you know. And I myself, I do boxing. I've been doing boxing since I was 18. I'm 23 now. I've had a couple fights, and it's a sport that I really love. It's a sport that I'm really, really passionate about. And, you know, I love VFX, I love boxing, and I was like, hey, let's just make something with both of them, you know? So that's why, you know, I'm really excited with the choreography as well, because I'm able to apply what I've actually learned in the boxing gym. I'm able to apply that to the choreography and really make this look sharp and exciting. And that's the aim. That's the aim. That's what we're going for. But yeah, we're using models from the console version, not the app version, because the app version, they're very low poly, and I use the app versions of them in my last short film about Real Steel, and you can see that when you go and watch it. Like, they're very low poly. They are not detailed, and I've tried to hide it with the high detailed textures, but you can still see it. It's not great. These versions are much more detailed, and so it's going to look way better. And I think because the models are more detailed, once you combine that with the high detail textures that I've created, because I'm not using the textures from the games. The game textures are pretty much like you can't use them. They're very low detailed, like 360 by 360 kind of thing. They're very low detail. And so I bring them into Substance Painter and I text them in Substance Painter using 4K textures, using lots of different, you know, surface imperfections and rust and muck and chipped paint and different things like that, really making the characters look as real as possible. So this is going to be a big step up from the first Real Steel. But that's I'm gonna get back into the screen share. But yeah, if you guys have any more questions or ideas or just anything in general, don't hesitate to shoot it into the chat. I will reply it if it shows up on my phone. I have got the TV right here showing my live stream, and so I'm making sure that everything's still there. So if it doesn't pop up on my phone, it should pop up there. But there is a delay, so I do apologize if it takes a second for me to reply, but I will do what I can. But yeah, if you guys have any questions about anything, shoot them in the chat. And I'm going to be doing this every Saturday. And also, if there's another time that works better with you guys, like so I'm going live at 3 p.m. British time, and I think it's a lot earlier in America. It's not as early on East Coast, but West Coast it's fairly early. So if any of you guys are watching this and you're like, wow, this was streamed at 6 a.m. where I am, let me know in the chat or let me know in the comments if you're watching this after we're live, and I can try and figure out a time that better suits everyone, because I want to try and, you know, have this be a weekly thing where we can all hang out, talk about stuff, share ideas, all that kind of thing. So hey, what's up, man? Hello. Jefferson is asking, do you already have a story made about how the animation story will be? Yes, so script is done, choreography is done, the characters are done, the changing room environment is done. I'm working on the arena, but I'm being selective with what I show in these live streams because I don't want to give away too much. I don't want to do spoilers, you know, so I want to do things that kind of tease it. So that's why we're showing this. But yeah, story is done. It's... I'm trying to think, what can I say without it giving things away? It's not... So it's not a full-on movie. I'm just going to make it clear. But what I will say, to give you an idea of the scale, is the first Real Steel short film that I made was about 2 minutes long, 2.5 minutes long. And it was the last 15 seconds of one round, and then like the first 20 seconds of the following round, and then the whole animation is over. And there's like a little bit in the middle where the coach in the corner is saying, you got to do this, and that was it, right? It was not a lot of depth, not a lot of fighting. This short film, oh, I just shook the whole mic, but this short film is going to be, I think it's either 3 or 4 rounds of fighting, and then there's going to be a whole sequence before the fight in the changing room between a couple of characters, and then there'll be a scene after as well that will kind of conclude the thing. So it's much larger. It's also the way that it's going to open with a fight ending. So it's going to open with 2 bots that you guys will know from the movies. There's one movie, but it's going to start with a fight ending of 2 bots that you guys will know, with one of them winning by very violent fashion, kind of just to let the viewer know, like, this is what's happening. And then it will move on to the changing room scene, and then from there it will move to the fight, which is about 3 or 4 rounds of fighting. And don't worry, it's not going to be boring. When I say 3 or 4 rounds, I mean like 3 or 4 movie boxing rounds. So it's not like It's not going to be 3 minutes of you just staring at a screen going, when's someone going to punch? It's 3 or 4 rounds of movie boxing. So things will be cut down to like just like the highlights, but also feel natural with some cool in-between bits as well. That should be cool, like inside in the ring corner and stuff. And it's actually, I won't say what fight, but I will say this because this is kind of a cool information, but the fight is based off of a very awesome fight that went down a couple years ago. So there was a fight that happened in real life, in the real sport of boxing. There was a fight that happened a couple years ago that was incredible to watch live. It was a war. It was a very much a back and forth. At one moment you thought one person was winning, and then the next minute you thought someone else was winning, and it played the inspiration for this fight. Yeah, I'm very excited. It's going to be me and my brother are going to be doing the motion capture for it. We've already gone through the blocking out of it. He's on holiday right now. He's having a good time in, I think, France. I think it's in France. Somewhere in France. Is it southwest? It's southwest France. Hanging out with some mates. He just finished his A-levels, so he's having a good time. Big love to Caleb. But when he gets back, we're going to be recording all the motion capture for that. And then it will be my job to clean up the motion capture and and then move from there. Got someone else asking a question saying, hey buddy, how are you doing in life? Thank you, bro. I'm doing all right. I hope you are as well. I hope everyone watching this stream is doing well. It's been tough recently. It's been a tough time. I've been going through, do you know what, I'll be doing this as I explain, but been going through a bit of a challenge recently. I'm not sure if you guys are aware of, but there was a strike that happened about a year ago where the actors and writers went on strike because, they were getting screwed over, really. They were getting screwed over by a lot of the studios out there. They were barely paying them, right? They were not getting a lot of residuals and everything. So they went on strike. Unfortunately, that meant people like me, people like my friends, we were fired like almost immediately. I was working for Industrial Light and Magic, ILM. If you don't know who ILM are, they are the guys who they made Star Wars. They've done the visual effects on all the Indiana Jones films, E.T., Marvel. They do a ton of stuff with Marvel, Avatar, James Bond, Mission Impossible. They've done a lot of stuff. They've been around since the 70s. They're a very big company, and I was hired by them to do a internship that was called the Jedi Academy, and I was very excited to do it. And unfortunately, because of the strikes, I lost that job. And it's been very hard trying to find work because very few films have started up, really. Things have been so things have been tough. Things that it's been a test for myself. I've had to really go, do I really love this? Am I really willing to go all out in the way that I'm going to have to? Because the reality is, I do not like how this looks. The reality is, it's going to be a while before the studios recover. So I have to figure a way out to continue making money to stay afloat. So I've been trying to do a bit of freelance, but yeah, man, I'm doing all right in life. Things were worse. Things are better now, and I do have to say that really comes down to you guys. That comes down to this this channel and the fact it keeps growing and people are enjoying the content I make. Like, I was going through a really, really, really dark time, and being able to focus my energy into creating for you guys has helped a lot. And the fact that you guys really enjoy the content that I'm making, that also really, really means a lot. So thank you everyone for your support, because it's helped immensely. It's helped a lot. I've been going through a very rough time, and it's definitely been a lot easier thanks to you guys showing all the love and support for this channel. So yeah, man, thank you for asking. I am doing a lot better than I was, and I'm very excited to get this real steel. What is going on there? What is that? Very excited to get this out there. Yeah, man. Life is not fair. Life is not fair. But it is what it is, you know? It's, I've come to terms with it. That I'm not getting that job back. And just kind of decided, you know what? If I'm not going to get that job back, I'm going to do it myself. And so that's why I'm making this channel. And I'm trying to, you know, be more and more consistent with it. I want to make fun content. I want to make short films. I want to make stories that, you know, make you guys go, wow, and, you know, really enjoy it. So that's kind of what I'm focusing on now. I'm like, you know what? We're gonna make some sick stuff for you guys. You know, I want you guys to be able to watch what I make and have a fun time and have a say in what we make, you know, and show the behind the scenes of how we make it. And I've got a lot of really fun cool ideas that I'm working on right now. I've got a Last of Us short film concept that I've been working on for a while that I think you guys are really going to enjoy. It's kind of like a cinematic trailer, but like to some music of like a character exploring, trying to get across a country or a county or a state to get to their loved ones, and they are encountering with raiders and clickers and bloaters and different things like that. And I think it's going to be a really cool one for you guys to enjoy. And I've also got the ones that already are out, like Deja Vu, which was a horror film. What's going on here? But yeah, I've got a few ideas, but I'm like, you know what? Look, listen, it sucks what happened, losing the job, but it is what it is. And I've got you guys being awesome, being very supportive, and enjoying the content. And so I really appreciate it. Jefferson says, hope you always pursue your dreams. Although you may not be very well known, you have great talent, and I truly wish that one day you are recognized. Thank you, bro. Thank you. It's very kind of you. I appreciate it. I really do. Yeah, man. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing and see how things play out, really, you know? And, I mean, I make the joke in some of my other videos. Probably all going to come crashing down, but yeah, we'll see. I'm excited to just keep making content for you guys, keep making short films, because that's what I love. I love telling stories. Like, ultimately, when I really break it down, I love telling stories. I love using visual effects to tell stories and have people have fun absorbing those stories. So that's what I'm aiming to do. Thank you. You're a strong person, mate. Thanks. Thanks, Jim. Jim is someone I know. It's funny. All right, guys. Thank you so much for all the kind words. I do appreciate it. I think we are pretty much there in terms of doing it. Nah, we're not going to do that. This is what we're going to do. I don't even know why I'm doing that. Oh, yeah. Look at that. I don't know why I wasn't doing that before. Getting rusty, Sam. Come on. Yeah, I got a lot of really cool ideas for you guys. And if you guys have ideas for kind of short films you want to see on here, like whether it be a franchise that you love or just a concept, again, shoot it in the chat or shoot it in the comments, because I want this channel, like as this channel grows, I want this to be a channel where people can have a say, right? I want this to be a two-way street. I think so often nowadays, especially with a lot of the studios out there, they just make stuff for the sake of making stuff, and they don't listen to what the fans want, right? And it ends up being a lot of these very frustrating situations where they're like, why is this being made? Who asked for this? And the reality is, quite often, no one asked for it. And I want this channel to be somewhere where you can ask for stuff. Like, if you're like, hey, I love The Witcher. I would love you to make a short film about The Witcher. And you're like, yeah, that's a sick idea. Let's do it, right? could be something as simple as that. But I want this channel to be something like that, where you guys have a say in what is made. It'd be cool to, you know, maybe we do something where there's like a voting system where I post after each short film that comes out, I then post a poll where it's like maybe 3 or 4 concepts, and then you guys decide what one is made. I think we'll go with that. I think we'll go with that, because I do have quite a few ideas, and I struggle sometimes to pick which one to make next. So I think it could be cool if we do something where whatever you guys pick, that becomes it. I think that could be kind of fun. I think that could be something that we have a fun time with. I think that's done. We'll do it here as well, because I think that's what I had a problem with. Oh no, that's not what I want. Screw it. Yeah, I think it could be fun. Because like I said, I have the Last of Us idea. I do have an idea for The Witcher. I do have a concept, so that could be kind of cool. So there's lots of things that we can play around on this channel, and you guys can have a say in it. Right. I'm going to be honest, guys. I think that is done. I think that ring corner is looking pretty snazzy. So here's what we're going to do. That's all there. Duplicate the selection, and we're going to snap cursor to world origin. There we go. We're going to select all of this. Oh, no, that's not what we want from the 3D cursor. There we go. And it's -180. Sweet. There you go. Look at that. Hell yeah. Coming together nicely, guys. Coming together nicely. Okay. What am I doing? Let's rename this to ring corner 02. And this is what I'm going to duplicate. This is ring corner 3. Now, obviously, we'll have to fix these bad boys. Let's select all of this, rotate it. Oh yeah, there we go. That's what you want, because you want it all matching like that. It looks pretty cool. And then what we'll do after I do this, we'll add some scaffolding underneath there. But that's... what am I doing? Right. I mean, now that we got this, we can just duplicate. There we go. Action. Select everything. This is what's really useful, guys, is you don't have to rotate everything from the origin of... what the hell is going on here? That's not right. Hang on. Hang on. Oh, there's 7. Oh, I see what's gone on here. I see what's gone on. Whoopsies. Whoopsies. There we go. That's what we want. And then snap cursor to selected. And then we're going to select this stuff. I'm going to rotate these bad boys 90 degrees. Sweet. That's what we want. That's better. I don't know what happened there. I did something wrong. Okay. So we're going to select all this. Right. Now, obviously, like you might have seen earlier, if I just rotate like this, it's like, no, this isn't what we want. We want it over here, but we want it to perfectly reflect what's over here. So this is what we do. We right click and we go to snap. We snap the cursor to the world origin, right? This thing that I mentioned earlier. And then from here, this tells you where it's going to pivot everything from. So you could do individual origin. Everything's going to rotate from its individual origin, which kind of looks cool if you're doing something, I don't know, with Doctor Strange or magic. Median just does everything as one group, but that's not what we want. We want to do a 3D cursor. And because our baseline is centered in the world, and this is why it's important to have it centered, it now perfectly fits there, right? So I'm going to type negative 180 degrees, and look at that. Hell yeah. Looking very nice, very snazzy. That's what we want. Okay, here we go. Scale. I think it'd be kind of cool as well if bits of it like stick out, because it's a junkyard, isn't it? The place is a junkyard. It's not very well put together, so it's probably going to look quite cool if there's bits that aren't perfect. Because I would use the array, but I'm just thinking it probably won't work, will it? Okay. Shrek compares ogres to onions, emphasizing that both have multiple layers that reveal complexity. This suggests that behind their tough appearance, ogres harbor feelings and stories. This is true. This is very true. Ogres have layers. Man, what a banging movie that is, by the way. But yeah, no, it's very true. It's supposed to be a funny moment, but it's like low-key. It's true. Everyone has their layers. Sweet. Okay. What are we doing? What are we doing? There it is. Yeah, I'm not going to use the array just because the array it's too perfect. We don't want it to be perfect. We want it to be messy. We want some messiness now. Okay. So we're going to move this like this. We're going to move this here. And we're going to select all of them. And these are very low poly as well. And we're going to keep them low poly because you're not going to see them. You're not. Like, the reality is, no one is going to see these. You might see them for a glimpse in the actual film, like I said, with the wide shots. But the reality is, you're going to be looking at the big-ass robots beating the hell out of each other. But it is cool to just have these extra details. It does help with believability. You want your VFX. This is like a great piece of advice I got. You want your VFX, when you're making VFX or modeling something, you want it to be detailed to a certain level that when you first see it, when someone first sees it, they go, whoa! Or they go, oh, that's cool. Or, you know, create some sort of reaction. And then you want it to also be detailed enough so that people that watch that again, look at that piece of art again, or watch that animation again, or watch that short film again, they notice more of the details. And so the more times you watch it, the more times it benefits the viewer, the more it blesses the viewer of like, oh, and here's some more details you didn't notice. They're like, oh, I didn't even notice that before. That's kind of what you want. You want it to be detailed enough that when they first see it, they go, that's cool. It gets a reaction out of them. But you also want it to be detailed enough so that it benefits the people that decide to watch it more. Exactly, yeah. The Crash Palace is an abandoned factory. Jefferson makes a good point. He says the Fight Crash Palace is an abandoned factory that has been invaded and used as a robot fighting arena. So the place is all messed up. Exactly. So the messier the better, really. And so that's what we're going for with this. The main messiness is going to be conveyed through the textures. That's going to be where we add all the grime and the dirt. And I mean, I don't know if any of you guys watch boxing, but often by the end of the night, there's a lot of blood stains. But obviously, these aren't humans. These are robots. So it'd be cool. We can add some like oil stains and stuff. I think it could be kind of funny. If, yeah, it could be kind of funny to add a bunch of oil stains, like robot blood stains kind of thing. But boxing. Ring. Oh my days. There we go. Ring base. Booyah. There we go. Is this tedious? Yes. Are you probably going to notice this? Probably not. Do I care? Absolutely. Absolutely. This is what this kind of level of detail is, the stuff that really brings a shot together. As tedious as it feels, it is worth it, guys. I was surprised that in the scene of the Crash Palace, the robots that exist in the mobile game appear. They quickly show up for a few seconds, and I found these details are still very good. Yeah, no, exactly. They tease. It's like, I think there's one robot where it's like its neck folds back over like that, and he like scares the hell out of the kid. But like the white one, and he goes like this. But yeah, it brings it to life, because it's like, oh, it feels like a living place where someone's just walked in with a camera and they're just capturing everything. They're just capturing what they find, right? And that's what you want, that kind of feel. You don't want it to be like, oh, there's only 2 robots. Where are all the other robots? I thought this place was an arena. And it's like, well, you're here for them, so why would I make all the other robots? And it's like, you want that extra detail, that chaotic extra detail. You want that lying around, because it's what makes it feel like a real place, a real living place that is being used by people, right? So yeah, we're going to work on the ropes now. I think that's something as well that's really important when you're doing 3D, is just understanding like what's going to be visible, right? What are you going to see on screen? What are you not going to see on screen? What are people going to stare at? What are people not going to stare at? And just managing your time, because yes, I could probably spend a really, really long time modeling every single minute detail of this ring, right? But the reality is, you're not going to notice this kind of thing. You're going to notice that, like, the robots. You're going to be looking at the robots. You're going to be looking at the arena. You're going to be looking at all the crowd going crazy in the arena, and the sparks and debris flying off the robots when they punch each other. That's what you're going to be looking at, right? So there's no point wasting your time on anything else. So I think that's there we go. That's what we want. I had it at an odd number. That's why. Am I going to make... Oh boy, this is... Whoa, baby. This is going to be very tedious, I can tell you that. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. We are going to abuse the hell out of the array modifier. Might just... Oh, okay. Okay. The only problem is they're all the same rotation, and I don't know how to change it. I call myself a VFX artist, and I don't know how to change it, how to make it. What are you? Yeah, you're not really going to notice it, are you? Like, you're going to be staring at them. So, I think I might save myself the trouble, guys. I know. I should probably... But I'm just thinking, like, I'm a one-man team, so, like, yes, I could go in and, like, bit by bit rotate these chains to match perfectly what we're looking for, but the reality is you're not going to be looking at that, are you? See, I say that, and now, like, someone's going to watch it. Someone's going to watch Real Steel too and go, I noticed that the boxing ring had some weird rotations on the things, and it's like, bro, chill, yeah? No one will do that. But okay, how many... I'm just going to stop talking. I'm rambling, guys. Ignore me. I do this a lot. When I'm nervous, I ramble. And this is, like I've been saying, like, this is my first live stream. So I will get better at this. I will get better at talking constantly. I'm putting on my best acting shoes right now. I mean, I haven't got any shoes on right now, but you know what I mean. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. All right, call it 22. So we're going to duplicate, and we're going to turn this bad boy off. There you go, like this. Rotate on the Y-axis, and yeah, Metro, he's the Frankenstein made from various broken robot parts. Funny you say that. That's all I'll say, because I'm not trying to give away spoilers. But yeah, no worries, bro. Thank you for dropping in for the live stream. Take care, and enjoy the rest of your day. See ya, bro. We got 2 viewers. Hell yeah. And I actually do mean hell yeah. Like, I'm not even meaning that sarcastically. I really appreciate people taking time out of their day to watch this, because, I mean, I was fully expecting to be talking to absolutely no one for, like, a consistent amount of time. So I'm kind of surprised we've got 2 viewers. But thank you. Thank you for tuning in. We're still going. Don't worry, we're not finishing. I've got to finish this, the chain ropes, and then I think we'll call it there. and then we'll do texturing. But we want way less than that though. 19. Cool. That looks sweet. We can add some variation here, right? Yeah. And I actually don't mind these things not being perfectly separated, because again, it's like kind of scrambled together. They're not. I'm not sure if you guys have ever seen the movie, but they're not exactly very organized people down there. So I think I'm pretty happy with that. I mean, it's coming together pretty nice. I'm pretty happy with how this is looking. You know what? I'm pretty happy with how this is turning out. This is what we're going to do now. I'm going to duplicate, delete the array modifier, and we're going to delete those because we're not going to see them. And we are going to duplicate this and delete this and move. Always, great bit of advice, another bit that I learned. Whenever you can use bits and bobs from other parts of your model, use it. Honestly, just no one is going to notice other than you. And as long as you play around with the scale a bit and you play around with the positioning, and obviously the textures will help a ton, no one is going to notice other than you, and it's going to do exactly what you need it to do. There we go. And we want boom, boom, boom. Look at that. Again, you don't really notice. That works. It works. Then we're going to bring this over here, which is looking good. Gets the point across, you know. And I think that is that. So what we will do now is we'll select all of these bits, duplicate, rotate it on the Z axis. Look at that. And it works. 90, duplicate it again. Oh yeah. Look at that. Look at that. So you got your scale, and then, oh, this will be cool. Okay. Let's screen share. And there you go. Look at that. Sick. We've got our boxing ring designed with our chains. Again, they look a little clean, right? But it's okay, because once we add the textures, it won't be as noticeable as well. The focus is going to, things like depth of field, camera shake, you're going to be focusing on the robot, so you're not going to notice. I mean, you will notice because you've watched the live stream, so you'll notice, but people who haven't watched the live streams, they will notice. And yeah, I'm really happy with this. All right. Right. Well, guys, thank you so much for being a part of this live stream. 2.5 hours, damn. But I'm very happy with it. I think it's looking pretty cool. And like I said, next week, same time, we're going to be doing a live stream and we're going to be texturing this boxing ring. All right, and that's going to be fun. And we're actually going to bring it into Unreal Engine, and I'll be able to show you guys what the arena's looking like, and we'll be able to see what the textures look like on it in Unreal Engine, which is going to be really cool. But like I said, I want to add some joke-like logos that kind of reference real brands, but aren't really. You know, we don't want to get sued. But if you guys have any funny ideas for that kind of thing, leave them in the comments, and we will come up. I'll pick a handful of them, and we will design those in Photoshop, and then we will bring them into Substance Painter when we texture the ring. But yeah, I think that's going to be a lot of fun. I've had a lot of fun today. Thank you so much for everyone who tuned in. And if you're watching this just post live, thank you for taking the time to watch this. Consider subscribing, liking this video, and checking out some of the short films. You know, I've got a lot of cool stuff. I've got behind the scenes videos where I show how I made them. I've also got some educational videos that show you some best ways to learn VFX yourself. And then, yeah, some short films and then upcoming stuff as well. So, yeah, thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. Until next Saturday,